Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Pitch, a daily women's football podcast brought to you by the Global Sports Podcast Network. I'm Catherine and today I'm joined by my favourite Italian.
And
Apart from
look at
Alessia
that.
Russo, who is part Italian.
Yeah, and look at that. It's still bright. I don't have to put the light on. I look so much better in camera. And just to let you know, look at that. I broke my wrist. Feel sorry for me, everybody, please. Anyway, nice to podcast with you again. It has been quite a while, so.
It has. So in today's podcast, we'll be talking all about FA Cup fixtures of the weekend. Both Manchester clubs picked up wins. Manchester United beat Sunderland 3-1. Manchester City beat Aston Villa 2-0. We should say the news literally just came out just before we started this podcast that Gareth Taylor is leaving Manchester City. I think we'll touch on that more in tomorrow's podcast because at the moment, literally all we've seen is he's leaving and that's all we know. But yeah, City beat Villa 2-0. Chelsea struggled to a 1-0 victory over Crystal Palace. And for the Cupset of the year, Liverpool knocked out 13-time FA Cup champions Arsenal 1-0. Amazing.
That I was not expecting it.
No, I don't think anyone was.
I'm not going to lie. Yesterday, unfortunately, because I had my surgery the day before. So yesterday I was not... I didn't really watch I watched some of the highlights. I didn't watch the game. But when I saw the result, I was like, wait, what?
All right, we'll come back to Arsenal. I promise. Let's start off by talking about the Manchester clubs, the two of them. Man City played Aston Villa. The first half was quite blunt, with Villa having kind of the better of the chances, but unable to find the net. Bunny Shaw broke the deadlock just after half-time, assisted by Mary Fowler. Jess Park then made it 2-0 at 17 minutes, scoring from a Viv Miedemar cross. So I take it you didn't watch the game?
No, I didn't. As I said, I've been literally in bed. I watched some of the highlights, but again, when we watch the highlights, it's always very different.
Yeah.
Already, I think when you watch it on TV, it is quite different, isn't it? You don't get the same feeling as when you are there. I don't know. I mean, I'm not very surprised. I mean, I could see by watching the highlights that wasn't one of those games where you just go like, oh, damn, I wish I was there watching that game. And just like, meh,
for sure.
All right. Surprise? I mean, not particularly. Like if I had to put my money on one of the two teams, I definitely would have picked City. Sorry, Villa, I like you, but that's the reality of fact. I just feel very sorry for them because they keep on losing. That's Villa.
Yeah.
Very excited about Manchester United. I'm not gonna lie. I know it's your, I know it's your team, etc. But it's just the whole team. So I'm not talking about just the women one. The whole team, the whole company is going through like probably the worst time they've had in the past. I don't even know how many years. And so just seeing the girls that just keep on, going out, performing, insistent. I mean, they are the champions from last year, so let's not forget that. But also they keep on winning on the league. They keep on winning in here. And Sunderland, sure, not Chelsea, not one of the top team. But I'd say, again, I watched the highlights. It seemed to be quite a, pretty comfortable win for the team. But also exactly what we were saying last time. When you watch the highlights, it's different, but you watch them playing and it feels like they just have fun when they play. It's just nice to watch.
So, Manchester United beat Sunderland 3-1 in, I would call it a professional showing. Leah Galton scored the first header. It was a hat-trick of headers, 3 headers, Manchester United's goals. That came in the 8th minute. Sunderland, what I was really impressed with, they didn't then drop their heads and say, okay, well, we've lost this now. They really gave United a lot of trouble. Maya Letitia got the second header just before half-time. Sunderland pulled one back, kind of a fluky goal around the hour mark, but Ella Toon made it a hat trick of headers in the 91st minute. And yeah, I was so happy for Ella Toon, so happy for the whole team, especially not having Elizabeth Turland, because I think she's still injured from that international break injury. So yeah, it was a really good. It was probably actually the best game to watch out of the 4 games, because Sunderland gave them a good fight.
I also think that they went into this game thinking, okay, we really need to play the game of our life. Like, we have to give it all. It's just one of those, isn't it? It's a bit like, I'm thinking, for example, on Sunday, when there is going to be the EFL Men's Cup final, and it's like Liverpool-Newcastle. Newcastle is going to give everything, because this is their only chance. That's it. And the same thing is Sunderland, right? Sunderland just probably went in saying, like, do you know what? That's it. Like, we have to give everything, literally everything we have. And also, I love the fact that exactly what you said, it's not just question of like, oh, okay, well, it's just like, okay, we are losing, but we're still going to fight until the end. But I want to ask you something, actually, because you said before that this for you was a professional showing. What do you mean by that? In what way?
I just mean Manchester United, they it was a professional win, in that, we say it in the men's game sometimes, when a team, it's not the best performance they'll ever have. It wasn't a totally dominant Manchester United who never let Sunderland have the ball and all that. It was a kind of, it just looked like, oh, they went and did the job.
That's what you meant by professional. I understand that.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't talking about professionals. I mean professional players and so forth.
No, I was just very curious of of what you were thinking in that point of view. If that's what it is, or if you were referring more to, maybe some of the, how they were playing, how they did the changes, how they moved, from one side to another, how maybe some of the players drop back and drop forward, if that's what you meant or not.
No, literally just very simple. They went there, they did the job, job done. It wasn't.
Yeah, no, I'm saying this is what I see on, this is what I'm seeing in United recently. Whatever it is, a WSL, whatever it is, a cup, whatever it is, a tournament, it's like, that's what they do. They just go in, they have fun, and they just bring the result home. And I'm very excited. I wish them to get to the final. That's my wish for them.
Well, we'll be facing a Manchester City, probably still under Nick Cushing, who, I swear, wasn't he linked to Arsenal ages ago?
What is going on, by the way? Like, what it's going on? It's like every week we are there going like, okay, who's next?
Why now with Gareth Taylor? Like, why not in the international break, if they were thinking about it? Because that makes me think that it's just they've had the game against West Ham, the draw, and they beat Villa. So what in those 2 games has changed?
I don't know.
That made them say,
so for me there is 2 things we need to see. So now that I've kind of like worked in football a little bit more, I didn't know before, but if they announce a coach very soon, is because this was planned. So, they went through interviews, a bit like they did with Crystal Palace, isn't it? It's well, you post about saying goodbye to, Laura the day before, and then the day after you announce the new coach. It was like, okay, how long have you been planning that for? Quite a bit. But if they don't, then maybe, I don't know, maybe just something happened. And, in our group chat today, someone was talking about, it's got to have maybe something to do with Miedema or Chloe Kelly, what has happened in there. So we don't know what's happening behind closed doors. Realistically, we don't know.
No.
Definitely it's like, although City wins, they are not the same team. So it's like, you watch them play and you just go like, oh.
It's like, compared to that game against Barcelona back in the autumn.
Yeah.
It looks like a different team.
Yeah. But it is in a sort of way a different team. It doesn't just look, it is as well. But anyway.
Yeah. No, that is as well. I think we have two big surprises: managerial changes and what we'll come to after the break, which is Arsenal. So, both Manchester clubs won. The same could not be said for both London clubs. Starting with Chelsea, we'll get to Arsenal, don't worry. So Chelsea won 1-0 in the end. They actually had the ball in the net 3 times. Aggie Beever-Jones and Katerina Macario both had goals ruled out for offside. Palace did frustrate Chelsea. They didn't give Chelsea much room to be Chelsea and do special things. Once again, Lauren James proved the difference. Something of a habit that's emerging recently. Lauren James getting Chelsea out of tough situations. What did you think from the highlights?
Okay, so as you know, I have a soft spot both for Chelsea and Lauren James. So I mean, here's my star girl. I tell you what, I was chatting to a friend of mine, Anna, yesterday when I was checking the results, because I remember last year we were actually down watching the game at Kingsmeadow when Palace played Chelsea in the FA. And it was a great game. And obviously, let's remember last year Palace obviously wasn't in the WSL, so they were still in the Championship, but they put on such a good fight. And so I'm not surprised. I also think that they are probably a bit more charged now with the new coach. It can always go one way or the other, right? The new one comes in and you'll feel a bit like meh, or it's like, okay, let's go, let's do it. So I think that's what they did. I also think that Chelsea looked a little bit tired again, a little bit like what we saw with their Leicester game when they in fact drew. Do you remember when Leicester played quite well, I have to say, but also Chelsea wasn't really there. I think they were a bit disorganized, it seemed a little bit yesterday. I don't want to say lost, but kind of like a bit like that. Maybe, and I'm just saying maybe, they thought this was going to be an easy game and maybe they underestimated it. Could it be?
I was slightly surprised that there wasn't more rotation in the team. Because although Myra Ramirez was on the bench and I think Kira Walsh was on the bench, it was still a pretty kind of strong Chelsea 11. And maybe fatigue, as you said, is just playing a role. I mean, the international break was only like a week ago, and this is already their second game back. Palace were out to frustrate them. I think Palace did that really, really well. But yeah, one question that's kind of in the back of my mind at the moment is Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea under Emma Hayes, I feel like this was their thing. They didn't play well all the time, but they picked up points. Again, the same thing's happening. They're not playing that well. So why haven't they lost a game? I mean, they did lose the occasional game under Emma. Why haven't they lost a game yet?
Because I think is that type of mentality is a little bit for me. Chelsea reminds me a lot of Real Madrid, the male version of the male team of Real Madrid. It's just that type of mentality, right? Even when they find themselves in certain situation, as soon as they have a break, and you can see that sometimes when they come back from the break, it's like they come back another team. They just go like, oh yeah, for a moment we forgot, but we're Chelsea, like we're Chelsea. That's it. Like what we do is winning. And so but also they have the players. You have players that are very resilient. So Lauren James is someone that does not like to lose. I'm not saying other players like to lose. That's not what I'm saying. But she really in particular doesn't like to lose. And you can see she's just going to go and go and go and go and go and insist and insist and insist. And actually, sometimes to me, it looks like she performs better when they are in this type of situations where she really thinks like, okay, this is now my time. I can do something. I really need to find a solution to this. And let me go and insist on this. That's my feeling. I think it's mentality. I said it many times. I remember when I went, oh my God, many, many years ago, when I went to watch Chelsea-Napoli in Champions League, men's one. And then Napoli, I think they won 3-1 or something like that at home in Naples, which was like, wow. So literally when they came to London, all they had to do was to play quite safe and just defend very well. And then just Chelsea trashed them.
Mm.
And you could see it was just the mentality. It was not the technicality. It was not anything like that. Totally off topic, like I love to do so, but it reminds me a little bit like when I watched some of the highlights yesterday of Italy England in the rugby. Italy
Mm.
has played an incredible game yesterday, but then they reached a certain point. I think England came back in the second half and went like, okay, we are England. That's what we do is we win against Italy.
Hmm.
This is our home and we are going to show you. And they
Who
just
won
over
in the end?
England.
Oh, good.
No, but the first half was really, really tight. Like I was like, what is going on? Like incredible tries from Italy as well. But then again is that mentality. And I think that's what Chelsea is really good
Mm.
at. But also is really good at, I'm going to use this word, but it's in a sort of way, it's not as negative as it could be in other occasions. But I think they're also quite good at bullying the other teams because they come in that type of thing. It's a bit like, if you get Real Madrid in a final, Real Madrid doesn't really lose final. So you're like,
Mm.
okay. It's already like, and I think Chelsea is like this. When
Yeah.
they come in a certain way and they bully with their own behavior in a play way and in a football way, not in a nasty way. But yeah, it's here. It's here. But anyway, why don't we talk about the second team because
Yes.
the second
So,
match because that makes me very happy.
so for what ended up being the biggest game of the round, Arsenal against Liverpool, it was really tough for the Gunners. They lost 1-0 eventually, thanks to a really unfortunate own goal from their goalkeeper, Daphne van Domselaar. So, you go first.
I'm just gonna say, I'm not even sorry. I'm just like, nah, I'm not even sorry. Not sorry. We are out of the cup. It's good. You're out of the cup. That's it. Done. That's it. No, I think it's so losing in this way, on a serious note, losing in this way is always very disappointing, right? If you lose 3-1 and the other team has played fantastically, you just take it. You go out of there and you say, do you know what? Well done. Like literally, like, well done. You guys deserved it. You played very well. When you lose like that, it's really frustrating. I mean, it happens, of course. And, fair play to Liverpool because, it happened many times to Italy too in many competitions that they were very lucky and then they got to the final. So you need everything. But I don't know. Like when I watched the highlights, I don't think the result is fair. Personally, I mean, nothing to take away from Liverpool, but I don't think the result is fair. Like you know, if I don't put my Tottenham Hotspur hat on, then I'll say I don't think actually Arsenal deserve to lose from the way they play and from the game. But again, sometimes that's just how it is. And
Yeah.
so I'm just going to enjoy it and know that they will not get to the final.
I mean, I have a few points. The first one is I don't know if it came across on just the highlights, but when you watched it, the quality of the pitch was atrocious.
Yeah.
They should not be playing professional games on a pitch with that. And you could see that Liverpool adapted much more easily because they tried to keep the ball in the air wherever possible. So there were lots of long balls. Arsenal were trying to do that, but they were also still trying to pass out from the back and keep the ball on the floor. And then, of course, the ball was sliding around everywhere. The quality of the pitch was atrocious, and I thought Liverpool adapted much better to it. And then one thing, I wonder what you'll think of this. I am very sneaky, and I am kind of a mute member of some Arsenal fan groups online just because I want to see what they talk about. I do this with lots of people. Like I'm a member of like a Man City fan group online. Just I never say anything. I just
Yeah,
sit
I
and
understand.
watch.
You stay in your place, but you just
Yes,
eavesdrop here
I
and there.
accept
Well,
that it's
you're doing
not for
research
me.
for the podcast, which is
Yeah,
great.
exactly. It's not for me to speak in them, but I do just watch. And I do find with Arsenal fans that I think they slightly go over the top, both in positive and negative. I mean, with Renee Steggers, my big thing has been she has done an incredible job, but I feel like a lot of the Arsenal fans were saying like manager of the year, this, that, the other, should be a national team coach, or this. She's the perfect manager. Everything's brilliant. And now they've lost a game. And a lot of the reactions I'm seeing are, maybe she's not ready. Maybe she's not ready. It was her fault. It was all her fault because the tactics were wrong. The subs didn't come on until really, really late. It was the wrong team. What was she doing? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, guys, it's okay to be excited when things are going well, but try and, keep a bit of being a bit measured about it. And, then maybe these falls won't be as big.
So I'm going to say something here that will upset a lot of the Gunners. I'm sorry. But I think it's, for me, this is, and I've seen this many times from them. It's a very, this type of behavior comes from the men's side of sports. That's what they do. Yeah, it's true. That's what they do. Like, it's like Arteta is the best. And I'm not saying just Arsenal, that's general men. It's like, oh my God, like, Mourinho, oh, the special one, he's the best, like no one like him, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like loses 2 games and it's like, oh, yeah, who does he think he is? Blah, blah. And it's like, literally, were you not saying last week that he was just like the best? What's going on? And I think I agree with you. I think they are OTT. Exactly as you said, in the good and in the bad. Like, when they need to put together, they go, they're noisy, they show up for their teams, whatever you want to. But also, OTT on the other side. I don't think it's going to...
I'm not saying this is only Arsenal fans, because you see it a lot with England fans as well. Like when we won against Spain, all of a sudden we're going to win the Euros. When we lost to Germany, it was sack Serena, get rid of the whole team and play the under-23s. But I feel like Arsenal fans are like the worst offenders for it.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. I think that's what it is. The only thing that we were thinking in here, just to say about it, is that, so I think Arsenal is probably right now, I would probably say definitely out of, the Premier League race. Obviously, they're out of the cup. So I think the only competition they are in is the Champions League, right?
The women, you mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there's quite a lot of pressure in there to deliver something. And I actually think that, considering this is her first season as a coach and it wasn't something that it was planned, she's doing fantastically well also with the team. So
I completely agree. I think my takeaway was just that I feel like it's a lot of pressure for a coach as well, when everyone's kind of saying, oh, you can get miracles out of this team, you can do this. And it's like, okay, well, if that doesn't happen, then that just gives them a lot further to fall. But no, I think she's done incredibly well, especially in bringing kind of the spirit back to the team.
Correct.
Yeah. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner, with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all of those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. So if you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Yeah, so our last but not least topic in the last few minutes that we've got left is actually chatting a little bit about the next round of the Cup. A bit boring that the 2 Manchester team have been drawn, I mean, I did think about it. As soon as I saw the result, I was like, oh, it's going to be another Manchester derby, is it? Yeah, it is. I would have loved to actually see... I want to say Chelsea City yet again. Yeah, yet again. That would have been so funny in history. Can you imagine? I don't think that's ever happened. Champions League, FA, WSL, all in the same, 4 weeks, mad. But no, it would have been nice to mix it up a little bit, but it is what it is. I know that you're probably happier as Manchester that you didn't get Chelsea. It's probably like an easier way into the final.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna if I have to put something, I'm gonna have to say my final would be Chelsea United.
I mean, I'll take that. I do.
But I don't think you will win against Chelsea. I'm sorry, but yeah,
No,
you get
I
to the
don't. I
final.
think after last year, I was saying the reason why I was happy that we avoided Chelsea was because I thought last year, semi final, we beat Chelsea for the first time in our history and knocked them out. And yeah, I think there will be a revenge element from them.
Oh, but that was, oh my God, I remember that. That's when
Mm-hmm.
Emma got so upset. Oh,
Yeah,
she was so upset, wasn't she? Oh my God. Yeah, I remember now. Now I remember.
yeah,
But
yeah,
also
yeah,
that time she got out of the cab. She was risking losing the Premier as well. Sorry, the league, not
yeah,
the
yeah.
Premier, sorry, the league. She was, I think, was she already out of the Champions League or she just got out of the Champions League? It was a
Yeah.
bad time. Oh, it was
Well, it
bad.
was when, because everyone, this is what I mean with everyone going over the top. Everyone was talking about Chelsea doing the quadruple. And then all of a sudden they were out of 3 of the competitions. And it was like, oh, this is terrible. This is the worst thing that's ever happened. I'm like, no, it's not. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
true.
sorry.
It's
I
true.
feel very
Yeah, but we
ranty.
like, come on, we are a bit drama queens anyway.
Yes,
No, I
exactly.
think this is what I think. Hey, look, maybe we are gonna get surprised. Maybe
Hmm?
Liverpool is gonna get lucky again. Maybe City with the new interim coach is gonna beat your, red asses. We don't know. We don't know. We'll have to watch. It's the weekend of the 13th of April, right? So the weekend before
Yes.
Easter. Are you going up to watch the game? Or are you going up to report and write on the game?
I'll have to see because I've just been put forward to cover the Lionesses in Belgium. I know.
Oh, that is
So we'll have to see
fantastic.
if I get to do that. Like if the FA accept me to do that, then I probably won't be able to afford to go off to Manchester as well.
Oh, babe, that is fantastic. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank
I hope
you.
you get to go to Belgium.
Me
I
too.
really do. Yeah.
Me too. Oh, finally, last thing. The WSL is back this weekend. There are some juicy fixtures, including Everton, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Spurs, Brighton, and a little rivalry we like to call Liverpool United. Come on, United. 2 games from this game week have already taken place. So Man City were held to a 1-1 draw by West Ham, which, by the sounds of it, could have been the final nail in the coffin for Gareth Taylor. And Chelsea beat Leicester 3-1. We need to shout out Ruby Mace for that game, who was stretchered off in what looked like massive amounts of pain. And yeah, luckily it's not an ACL. It has been confirmed.
Confirmed. That's
Yeah.
good. Already you freaked me out on that evening when you texted because you were like, oh, do you remember when you were like, oh my God, what's going on? She was supposed to be Kira's replacement. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what? I was like, what did I miss in there? What
Yeah,
happened to Kira?
it
Anyway.
I accidentally made it sound like something had happened to Kira Walsh.
Yeah. And I was like, what?
By saying like, oh no, Ruby.
I know. I was like, I haven't watched football for one day, and Kira Walsh is out of the Euro. No, please, come on.
No.
No, I'm gonna go and watch Tottenham. If my arm is okay and I recover on time, etc. I have a few friends in town, so I think we're all going to go and watch it. I don't think it's going to be an easy game against
No.
Brighton at all. I think Brighton is coming to get points and to win and to fight for sure. So I think it's going to be a really good game to go and watch. I also think that our girls are going to put on a really good fight. So it's going to be a game where it's either going to be like a 0-0 because both teams are going to be like, okay, we want to win, but we don't want to lose. We want to be very careful. Or it's going to be something like, I don't know, 4-3.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I don't know.
They have the key to the Spurs manager to play Beth England in her rightful position.
I'll text him. I'll tell him. I'll throw one of the plane, the paper
She's
plane.
a 9.
Can you do that? And I am really looking forward to. I won't be watching the game, but I will be watching the highlights and following. Crystal Palace, Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Obviously, big relegation battle in there. Crystal Palace obviously called in another coach.
Yeah.
To have the opportunity to push on any possible little opportunity to stay up and not to go back down. So that's what they're gonna be, playing for when Aston Villa goes down on Sunday. So that's also, I think, is going to be, of course, Everton, Arsenal, and Liverpool, Manchester United.
I
I'm
mean,
sure there would be interesting
Everton will be
games.
tough for Arsenal, I feel like.
Why?
Coming off of the loss, Everton can be a very physical team. That was
Yeah,
part of
but
what caused Arsenal so much trouble.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, again, they're coming off a loss, which is not like a really bad loss. It's more
No,
just like
that's
an
true.
make me angry, a bit annoyed loss, because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, that was really unlucky. It wasn't just like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, like we got our asses super beaten. So I don't know. It could go both way. They can go up there and be like, "Do you know what? No, we're going to show you who Arsenal is, and they're just going to
Yeah.
beat Everton a lot." But we'll see.
And
I guess,
yeah,
we'll find out next week.
before we go, we'll just say Man United are going to thrash Liverpool 6-0. That's it.
So they put my money on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I have a huge soft spot for Sam Kerr of Scotland and Liverpool, so maybe I don't want her to feel bad. So
Right. Maybe instead of 6-0, 5-0. How about that?
yeah,
Softer, yeah. A
yeah.
bit
But she has
softer.
a really good game. Sam Kerr has a really good game. Okay, so that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you to the next episode of Beyond the Pitch. Bye,
Ciao.
Kate.